Top 60 philosophers in chronological order starting with the oldest. 60. Thales of Miletus. Born 624 BCE and died 548 BCE. Thales of Miletus was a Greek mathematician, astronomer, statesman, and pre-Socratic philosopher from Miletus in Ionia, Asia Minor. He was one of the 7 sages of Greece. Many, most notably Aristotle, regarded him as the first philosopher in the Greek tradition. He influenced other notable pre-Socratic philosophers like Pythagoras and Anaximenes. 59. Parmenides of Elea. Born around 540 BCE and died around 475 BCE. Parmenides of Elea was a pre-Socratic Greek philosopher from Elea in Magna Graecia. Parmenides has been considered the founder of ontology and has, through his influence on Plato, influenced the whole history of Western philosophy. His areas of interest include metaphysics and ontology. His notable ideas include monism and truth versus opinion. He influenced many of the philosophers later in the list, including Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Friedrich Nietzsche, Martin Heidegger, and Baruch Spinoza. 58. Socrates. Born 470 BCE and died 399 BCE in classical Athens, Socrates was a Greek philosopher from Athens who is credited as the founder of Western philosophy and among the first moral philosophers of the ethical tradition of thought. An enigmatic figure, Socrates authored no texts and is known mainly through the posthumous accounts of classical writers, particularly his students Plato and Xenophon. Socrates was a polarizing figure in Athenian society. In 399 BC, he was accused of impiety and corrupting the youth. After a trial that lasted a day, he was sentenced to death. He spent his last day in prison, refusing offers to help him escape. Socrates exerted a strong influence on philosophers in later antiquity, and has continued to do so in the modern era. 57. Plato. Born 428 BCE and died 348 BCE. Plato was an ancient Greek philosopher born in Athens during the classical period in ancient Greece. In Athens, Plato founded the Academy, a philosophical school where he taught the philosophical doctrines that would later become known as Platonism. Plato was an innovator of the written dialogue and dialectic forms in philosophy. He raised problems for what later became all the major areas of both theoretical philosophy and practical philosophy. His influence is far-reaching, and particularly spoke to Aristotle, René Descartes, and Immanuel Kant. 56. Aristotle. Born 384 BCE and died 322 BCE. Aristotle was an ancient Greek philosopher and polymath. His writings cover a broad range of subjects including physics, biology, zoology, metaphysics, logic, ethics, aesthetics, poetry, drama, music, rhetoric, psychology, linguistics, economics, politics, meteorology, geology, and government. 55. Epicurus. Born 341 BCE and died 270 BCE. Epicurus was an ancient Greek philosopher and sage who founded Epicureanism, a highly influential school of philosophy. He was born on the Greek island of Samos to Athenian parents. Of the over 300 works said to have been written by Epicurus about various subjects, the vast majority have been destroyed. Only 3 letters written by him, the letters to Menoetius, Pythocles, and Herodotus, and 2 collections of quotes, the Principal Doctrines and the Vatican Sayings, have survived intact. 54. Seneca. Born 4 BCE and died 65 AD. Seneca Lucius Annaeus, Seneca the Younger, usually known mononymously as Seneca, was a Stoic philosopher of ancient Rome, a statesman, dramatist, and, in one work, satirist, from the post-Augustan age of Latin literature. Seneca's influence on later generations is immense. During the Renaissance he was, in quotes, a sage admired and venerated as an oracle of moral, even of Christian edification, a master of literary style and a model for dramatic art. 53. Hypatia. Born around 350 AD and died 415 AD. Hypatia was a Neoplatonist philosopher, astronomer, and mathematician who lived in Alexandria, Egypt, then part of the Eastern Roman Empire. She was a prominent thinker in Alexandria where she taught philosophy and astronomy. She is the first female mathematician whose life is reasonably well recorded. Hypatia was renowned in her own lifetime as a great teacher and a wise counselor. 52. Augustine. Born 354 AD and died 430 AD. Augustine of Hippo, also known as Saint Augustine, was a theologian and philosopher of Berber origin and the bishop of Hippo Regius in Numidia, Roman North Africa. His writings influenced the development of Western philosophy and Western Christianity, and he is viewed as one of the most important church fathers of the Latin Church in the patristic period. His main interests include anthropology, biblical criticism, epistemology, ethics, metaphysics, pedagogy, philosophy of religion, theodicy, and theology. His many important works include The City of God, On Christian Doctrine, and Confessions. 51. Averroes. Born 1126 AD and died 1198 AD, Ibn Rushd, often Latinized as Averroes, was an Andalusian polymath and jurist who wrote about many subjects, including philosophy, theology, medicine, astronomy, physics, psychology, mathematics, Islamic jurisprudence, law, and linguistics. Averroes was a strong proponent of Aristotelianism. He attempted to restore what he considered the original teachings of Aristotle and opposed the Neoplatonist tendencies of earlier Muslim thinkers, such as Al-Farabi and Avicenna. 50. Maimonides. Born 1138 AD and died 1204 AD, Maimonides, Moses ben Maimon, was born in Córdoba, Spain, but spent his most productive years in Cairo, where he served as a royal physician. The Arabic cultural environment brought him into contact with classical Greek philosophy. He was a Sephardic Jewish philosopher who became one of the most prolific and influential Torah scholars of the Middle Ages. In his time, he was also a preeminent astronomer and physician, serving as the personal physician of Saladin. 49. Aquinas. Born 1225 AD and died 1274 AD. Thomas Aquinas was an Italian Dominican friar and priest who was an influential philosopher, theologian, and jurist in the tradition of scholasticism. He is known within the tradition as the Doctor Angelicus, the Doctor Communis, and the Doctor Universalis. Unlike many currents in the Catholic Church of the time, Thomas embraced several ideas put forward by Aristotle, whom he called the philosopher, and attempted to synthesize Aristotelian philosophy with the principles of Christianity. Stay tuned for parts 2, 3, 4, and 5 of this series. If you've enjoyed this combination of philosophy and AI, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you.